gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Button Mash. And today we're talking about Dragon Age of Veilguard. Again, I feel like I'm going to be honest, I'm milking this a little bit because it's very interesting. And you know, what's everyone talking about, but at least I'm honest about me milking it. It's not like Real Games Company where, like, oh yeah, you know what? We're going to make a remake of another game because it's so popular. And again, because we're going to milk it like it's a cow. Boink, 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 boink. I'm sorry, I'm really energetic today. I don't know why. But anyway, so as you know, their Dragon Age Veilguard came out, and the reviews have been mixed, and there's like a lot of drama, and there has been a lot of interesting articles coming from the Gamer and all that, all those places. But anyways, so what I think, was BioWare needed a big hit EA. That's why they were trying to. One of the controversies was that they were giving out keys to published journalist outlets who spoke well of BioWare's Dragon Age Veilguard. And everyone's saying it's the wokies. I'm like, no. This is a business thing. This is the way some media companies work, especially when it comes to that stuff, like video games. Many companies give early access and stuff to people who will hype up the game and not talk negative about it. I mean, and this ain't just not media, but video game companies alone, because Disney does this too. I watch a couple Clownfish TV, and they worked at Disney, and like Disney had to pre-approve all their articles and stuff. So I'll be honest, it ain't that far fetched that EA's and BioWare is trying to keep control of the narrative. Now the question is they could be paying the vendors or they could be working themselves. Like, it's just common enemy. Both work together. Because vendors don't like the chuds, and EA needs another hit. Because the thing is, BioWare my bad. Dragon Age the new one took 10 years in production. So that's a lot of money and time and a development team. So they want this to be a hit, and they're going to try to steer the narrative in that direction. That's why they only journalistic outlets that'll give them praise to make it, look good. That, hey, this game is good. And why? Because, like I said, it takes 10 years, and that's how much they're paying developers. That's a lot of money. So that's why I think that, and I probably know it's easy to see, but I'm just going to say I think they're trying to keep control of the narrative when it comes to that game because they need a hit. However, it wasn't. The first week it got 60K, which I'll be honest, it's more than I thought it was going to get in people playing it. But like I said before, for a 10-year game, that's not going to be good. And that's why BioWare to control, my bad, each try to control the narrative when it came to Dragon Age because they need the sales. Granted, I'll be honest, it's 60K on the first week of release, and for a game that had like just all kinds of Twitter controversy, I'll be honest, I'm shocked. And to me, that's good, but it's not good enough. Because already, from a business standpoint, like I know I raised this before, it took 10 years. And then on top of that, many businesses have to make sure their investors are happy. Because as a business owner, if you're like a publicly traded company, you have a duty to make sure your investors get paid and your company's running smooth, or the majority of stakeholders can kick your ass out. So there's that. Like, let's say even the game sold 100,000. I don't think that would be good either. Like I said, it needs to turn a profit, and it didn't. Because there were articles coming from many sources like Game Rant essentially stating that Dragon Age Veilguard will not have a DLC. And I think, first of all, this took 10 years in production, and BioWare or my bad, EA. I'm so used to Byron being its own company, so if I confuse it throughout this podcast, I'm so sorry. But EA is just like, look, let's throw it to the wall, see if it works, and if it does, we'll do another DLC. But it didn't work, and I think after 10 years and the sales weren't where they expected to be, they're like, okay, no, we're just going to move on to the next project. It's not worth it. Which is Mass Effect. They're going to make another Mass Effect. I'll be honest, I heard Andromeda was bad, but I haven't really played it. But besides the point, I think after 10 years and the sales aren't good, they're just like, yeah, we're moving on. And also they may not, the thing is, if depending on the company, they may have like the budgets pre-planned for the games or projects. So they might have already had it like, okay, 10 years, let's just get this shit out and then we'll work on the other stuff. We're just, they might have not planned a budget for DLC with, because the article, interesting article, and this was from Spy the Gamer from September 21st, 2024, like a month before Dragon Age Veilguard's release. And this is my theory by just going back, that the article said that they have no plans for DLC for Dragon Age Veilguard at the moment. He thinks that BioWare or my bad, EA was like, okay, we already have the money we're spending on and that's it. We're only gonna greenlight the game, and that's it. Because like I said, it took 10 years, and I think EA's not gonna waste the money on Dragon Age for DLC, especially I mean, maybe if it was good sales, they would have been like, okay, we'll release the DLC, like we'll chart a course and we'll start a DLC. Might be a little late, maybe in next year, just because it didn't seem like they had it planned. But there was like no plans to begin with. Like I said, I know I'm like, there were no plans. And I think it, like I said, if it sold well, then they would have put plans, but it didn't. I think after 10 years, EA was like, okay, let's just get this done with and just push it out. And yeah, I I don't know. I mean, I know not Veilguard, Mass Effects. Everyone's saying it sucked, but well, at least the new one's gonna suck that they're focusing on. But I think I heard Andromeda really jumped the goat. Like, I think that's community opinion that Andromeda really jumped the goat. But yeah, I just think right now, and I hope I'm right, or I hope my thought process is right. I could be completely wrong. The future is messy as hell. Like, there's no crystal ball that you can shake that could be like, okay, you know, this is gonna happen. But I think a lot of companies are like, oh shit, we're losing money. And they're gonna, right now, release the games that they already have contracted that have all the ideology out. There's no way they could change course or the dev, because it's already in development, and that would be a loss of production money. So they're just gonna throw it out, and then hopefully, fingers crossed, toes crossed, everything crossed, they actually release good games. And also, just to add, and the problem, and I see a lot of news outlets saying the character, that everyone's mad about the non-binary character, and I'll be honest, I give two shits what the character is. I just want a good gameplay, and plus, you can with non-binary character. I mean, there's a show on FX called, or it was aired, called Pose, that was a really good show, and it was like, I don't know if you saw the Paris is Burning documentary, something like that, and it was a historical fiction, or of the sort of like LGBT movement in the 80s and 90s. And the thing is, like, they gave the characters dimension, emotions, and it will well win. The problem is, I think, with this non-binary character in Dragon Age, it didn't feel like they were trying to write the character for the character. Like, the character was just more there as a poster child for their political belief, versus actually giving some depth, some nuance, something. I mean, geez, they had a freaking gay character in Dragon Age 2, and this is spoilies for anyone who didn't play Dragon Age 2. Anders, who literally blew up the fucking city out of extremism. Granted, I romanced him in Dragon Age 2 and killed him because he lied to me. But it's like one of those things where there's a lack of nuance and a lack of well writing. And instead of giving the characters own identity, they just become the identity, or like I said, a poster board for the right politics instead of, like I said, giving them their own identity and stuff. And I think that's where my point of the whole controversy comes from, is that they are just using the character as a poster board for their politics instead of making them a relevant character. But anyways, what do you guys think? Um, I I'm honestly waiting for a sale if I'm gonna buy it. $69 is a lot, let's be. And unless the game is top tier quality like Black Myth Wukong, like I'd go out and buy that and Stellar Blade for 16. Unless it's worth it for the price, I'm not buying it. I'm sorry. Anyways, thank you. Have a good one. Enjoy your gaming.